Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk to you about attracting safer relationships. I'm actually outside in this beautiful place in Monterrey, which is in Mexico. And as you can see, it's so nice and peaceful and green. But what I wanted to talk to you about was a post that I just put out. And the post that I put out was around attracting safer relationships. And the quote of the post was, true connection or true validation in relationships happens when you open up with who you really are. And who you really are is your past stories, what you've been through, a lot of your traumas, a lot of the good things, all of it. When you open up with who you really are and you're met with connection instead of rejection. Now listen to this carefully again. A true supporting relationship is built, safety is built in relationships when you open up about who you really are, what you really desire, where you're going through with what's going on, and you're met at this point with connection instead of rejection. Now, why is that so different? For most of us, we don't realize we're actually met so often with rejection in our lives. If you know and you can see where you're met with rejection in your lives, just throw that into the comments. But I'll give you a few examples. When we're growing up, right, and when we're growing up, whether most likely with our parents, whether you're in school, wherever you are, and you're trying to show who you are, you talk about desires you have, maybe dreams and goals, maybe even looking for a particular partner, trying to speak to who you are, where you came from, and you're met with that's not good enough. You're met with, you need to prove yourself. You're met with, I can't love you until you give me something I want in return, or you give me some part of you that I'm willing to accept. All of those things mean that you're met with rejection instead of acceptance of who you are, really connecting with who you are. Now, here's the magic of what happens when you create a safe relationship. You don't have to attract a partner who's like, yes, I know exactly what you're going through. I went through the same thing. You are the queen or the king for having gone through what you did and for surviving. You don't need that. You need to be met with someone who just accepts that, okay, I don't understand it. Personally, I've met so many people in my life who I don't understand where they've come from because I haven't had those experiences, but I recognize that the experience is important to them. Someone on here said, I've been met with being called overly emotional, dramatic, etc. Now, here's the honest, I'm going to give you very honest truth about it. When most of us feel or feel like we're in spaces where we're overly emotional, we're overly demanding, we're overly dramatic, etc., it's because our nervous systems are so used to a heightened response. And this is because as a survival mechanism, when we were children, we were only noticed or recognized or validated when we had a heightened emotional response. Think about tantrums. And as a child, the only way you can get someone to really recognize you is when you really feel or like you really express yourself or you really heighten your emotional self. Now, if you noticed in that environment that this was the only thing recognized, your being starts to say, okay, this is the only way I can really feel validated. Now, here's what's important. It doesn't mean you're too much. It doesn't mean you're excessive. It doesn't mean you're too emotional. It doesn't mean you're too direct. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that is a coping mechanism. And this is the key word, coping mechanism, which you used to survive in your environment. Now, here's what the magic is. What happens when you get into a relationship with someone and you have that coping mechanism, but they don't understand why or how or what to do with that coping mechanism? Someone said it's a trauma response. Absolutely. When you are met with someone who doesn't know how to hold space for it, they will reject you. They will shame you for it. They will say, you're too much, you're too needy, you explain too much, you push too much. Think about it the opposite way. Whether you like it or not, an avoidant, for example, their coping mechanism is to run away from emotional intimacy. It is a coping mechanism because emotional intimacy was something that they felt rejected or they felt suppressed about in their past. It was a space where when they asked for love, they were just met with someone who shamed them, judged them, criticized them, or any of those things. And now if that happens enough as you're growing up, you decide that, fuck this love shit. I'm not even going to ask for it because every time I ask for love, I'm getting rejected. So now they focus on other things. Maybe they get obsessed with their hobbies, their jobs, their pets, anything that can't emotionally reject them in return, which a human being can do. Now, this is a coping mechanism, this survival response of oh, I need to run away from love. If these people, for example, an avoidant, goes up to someone who's an anxious or someone who doesn't understand them, then when they're trying to show them their coping mechanism of like, oh my god, this is scary for me, I'm going to run away, they're also met with shame and rejection. Why? Because that person doesn't understand that. They think, oh my god, you're so emotionless. Like, how can you not have feelings? How can you run away from intimacy? How can you not tell me you love me? How can you not, share your feelings? How can you not express when you're hurt? How can you not express like when there's something difficult going on? Why can't you share with me? Why can't we talk? It's because they're not understood in their world. So the truth about when we create safe relationships or when we can attract good relationships is not that we have to have a partner who's like us. Remember this, please. In fact, it is definitely not good if you attract someone who is exactly like you, because then the two of you will not find each other attractive. The basic principle of evolutionary dynamics of development psychology, relationship psychology, is that we will seek opportunities or spaces where we can grow and expand into who we are, which is why the anxious attracts the avoidant, or the avoidant attracts the anxious. Now, it's so funny, you think that, oh my god, for years this same pattern has been causing me so much trauma, and yet why are you in it? Why is your next boyfriend the same? Why is your past girlfriend the same? It's because you're meant to learn from those opportunities about yourself. You're meant to learn about your coping mechanisms in those same places. Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.